Premier African Minerals is a mining and exploration company. It's an emerging tungsten producer from the RHA Tungsten mine, and it's advancing the sizable Zulu lithium and tantalum project. Both are in Zimbabwe. It's secured an offtake agreement with its Chinese partner Canmax, and the business of lithium, a deal whereby Premier African Minerals has certain requirements to be completed sometime soon. To help, it's raised £600,000 to strengthen its balance sheet. George Roach is acting chairman and chief executive. He joins us now on the line from Zimbabwe. George, good to be able to catch up with you again. Really interesting project. A lot of people asking about how it's going and the deadlines and so forth. I want to get, first of all, a feeling for your positioning with the company. You've been in the business a long, long while, both with Premier and other mining companies, and you're well respected in the business. How do you feel about things and what's going on generally at the moment?
Well, I'm generally comfortable with where we are with the project today. I'm talking specifically about the Zulu lithium project because I think that's the one is attracting most of our time and energy, certainly all of my time and energies at the moment. It's been a very interesting road that we've come down over the last 18 months, 2 years, getting on for 2 years now. And in a relatively short period of time, we were able to complete construction of a mine, and we're back in the late stages of commissioning, optimizing, and so on of the plant, with a couple of modifications from when we first embarked on this. But generally, we're according to our equipment suppliers and so on, they're very comfortable with where they are. And I'm beginning to see some good results coming out of it. So I'm pretty happy with where we are right now.
Yeah, and in as much as you've got these pressures being brought to bear on the company as well, how close are you to the 1,000-ton production per month by the end of November, which is part of the terms of the offtake agreement with Canmax?
Yes, let me in that context say that the overall design capacity of the plant is 4,000 ton per month. And this initial shipment target of 1,000 ton by end of November should be reached fairly comfortably, according to our plant supplier, who, as I say, is busy with getting it back commissioned and optimized and so on. And the plant is certainly running, and it's running well at the moment. So, right at this stage, I don't anticipate any unforeseen or other issues coming and getting in the way of meeting that. It's obvious. I must just say I'm fairly circumspect with this because it is a future event, and I don't want to be definitive about something in the future.
No, absolutely.
But I can say
I understand completely. I understand completely, and of course, there's certain things obviously you're unable to say because that's just the nature of where you are within the project. What about grade? When are we going to hear about the grade and the quality of what you're taking out of the ground? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, our laboratory at site that is now properly fully equipped and running indicates to us that in our laboratory work, in our laboratory test work, we're able to produce very good grades of spodumene concentrate. And the plant follows the same principles established within the laboratory and in the test work framework. So we anticipate that the plant will also produce to the same grades and the same quality standards. In terms of the run-of-mine material, the way this plant is configured is that we use XRT sorting after crushing, and we use UV sorting. And these sorters are intended to concentrate first of all, the pegmatite by removing it from waste material, and then using the UV sorters to upgrade the spodumene content. And collectively, this is intended to give us a significant upgrade of mine material going into the plant, and in that way facilitate processing and facilitate the production of good grades of spodumene.
What about the relationship within this offtake agreement with Canmax? I mean, they have been very supportive, haven't they? Where do you see that relationship going? So far as you're concerned, obviously you're going to be hitting the targets. If you hit the targets, what happens then? What is Canmax going to do? What's the long-term relationship?
At the moment, the relationship is very good, and I don't see any particular reason for that to change. Recently, I visited them, and I was very impressed with what they have done, with the size of their operations in China. They are arguably the largest producers of lithium hydroxide at the moment around. Their ownership of the companies that are producing hydroxide, their management of them, their associations with other companies is all very, very impressive. Their requirement and demand is for spodumene. They are pushing us very hard to ramp up as fast as we can in terms of where we are. And my expectation is that as soon as this process of optimization and commissioning completes, I would look forward to them visiting site, validating where we are. And my anticipation is that we are likely to get good support to enhance the size of the operation generally. I think that that's where this is going.
Clearly, your time is spent on this lithium project at the moment, but I know also the progress has been made at RHA, the tungsten mine in Zimbabwe, and the installation and commissioning, I believe, has been done. Where does this go now, and when is that going to be your focus of attention?
Well, look, let's go back to RHA. RHA is a fully installed and commissioned plant. There are we had a few challenges going back in years, and the challenges included the fact that as a throwback to the indigenization program in Zimbabwe, a state entity still holds 51% of the claims. Now, with all the funding that we've put into it and with the work that we've done, I really felt that we needed to have a contribution from our other partners. And our RHA Tungsten has been in care and maintenance for a couple of years now, because that situation remains unresolved at this time. So whilst the entire plant is owned completely by Premier, the claim certificates that are associated with the plant or associated with the deposit are in a separate company, which is a 51-49 ownership between Premier and the state's company.
So my understanding is you're preparing though for the opening of the pit mining operations. Is that correct?
Are you talking in terms of RHA?
Yes, sorry, I beg your pardon, yes.
Yes. Look, RHA, what I want to do at RHA in time is to get back there. And I believe that there are two alternative opportunities at RHA. Either with the sorters installed, we enlarge the open pit operation, or we decide to put in a decline and just attack the underground, which is partially developed as well. There was a long history of mining at RHA. There is a resource that is present, and there is potential to go in either direction, whichever the pricing and tungsten indicates we should go. At the moment, with pricing of the wolframite concentrates as they are right now, I think open pit and enlarged open pit is probably going to be the better way to go.
Yeah.
But that's It needs resolution of the claims ownership and contribution side of it first.
I know as well you have other operations in other countries. Ethiopia, you mentioned before we went to this interview. Is there anything else that you've got which you are continuing to monitor? Because clearly your time is taken up at the moment mainly with lithium, but also tungsten is up there. Do the other mines sort of get pushed to the side? Are you not progressing anything else?
Well, I've had a year almost. I'm not going to call it a sabbatical because it wasn't. It was a period of extremely hard work. But in terms of the other operations, I've been a little distant from them, and the focus has been largely on Zulu. But that's beginning to shift back as we get Zulu to the stage that we're at the moment. And of interest remains the other property that we have a small stake in, is that in the Danakil Depression in Ethiopia. So we have a stake in that. It's a potash deposit. And there are other interesting operations sort of in that part of the world. So I have a history of working there, and I'm reasonably comfortable. And I believe that potash project should be advanced and should be developed. It's up to other shareholders. We're a minority in that deposit at the moment, but we keep a pretty careful watching brief on it, with the intention of hopefully seeing it develop and advance.
Let's take a look at the share price chart, something you'll be familiar with. We had this bump earlier in the year in April, but since then we've seen this pullback. What's priced in on these shares at the moment? Is it just lithium, or is there any recognition of the work you're doing at RHA, the tungsten mine?
I don't believe there's anything other than Zulu priced in at the moment. I don't think that there's an acknowledgement of anything else. I mean, for example, we have a 50% joint venture on other lithium properties, lithium claims in the Mutare area of Zimbabwe. And I see that there's fairly significant value there as well. I don't believe any of that's priced in anywhere. We adjoin a mine under development at the moment in that Mutare area. That's a mine called Sabi Star. Their properties adjoin ours. So I think that there's reasonable value there, so not priced in. Similarly, RHA, as and when we can do something with it. And the interest in Circum, to me, is definitely not priced in. So that's sort of where I think we are. I think it's all focused on Zulu Lithium at this stage.
Yes, and I guess the swing point or date, I guess, is the end of November, when you prove the amount of mineral that's coming out.
Yeah, look, as soon as the market requires anyway, as soon as there is some definitive way of taking this forward, I will RNS, and I will obviously be informing the market of exactly where we are and what's next.
Yeah. Market cap 117 million. As I said, you're on AIM. What do you do in terms of raising more money? Do you have enough cash on the balance sheet to take you through to what's needed at the lithium project?
Yes, cash is always tight, but at this stage, as previously indicated, I think that we're funded adequately to get us to this first production point. So yeah, I'm reasonably relaxed about that for the moment.
And of course, one has to quote your last RNS release at the last set of earnings that you hope, I think, hereafter to be cash generative. How is this 6-month period going towards that deadline?
Well, end of November is a critical date in terms of that. But it was a very sincerely made statement. That I really do hope and believe that it's the last time I'll report not being cash generative. And we look forward to that very much indeed.
Well, we also look forward to it, George. Thanks indeed for your time. It's great to have you live with us, talking us through the project. Good luck with it all. We'll look out for the dates and the RNSs as they're released. That's George Roach. He's the acting chairman and chief executive of Premier African Minerals.